This is rock and roll.
The legacy of Robin Williams, I think, is one of the great on-screen comedic talents that took a unique, extraordinary stand-up skill and channeled it into characters.
Can you keep a secret?
No.
Good. Because you know what the little people told me?
The little people?
Oh, you know. They said, you're the one.
The one what?
Shut up! Oh, get away from him! Oh, this will get... Winter, breathe. Oh, sorry about this. Very good. Oh, there we are.
He was also the kind of actor who just connected with the audience. He had good roles, and the audience loved him in them.
I'm teaching you to act like a man. All right. All right. Now, this is a dinner party. Let's work with food. All right? Spread some mustard on the toast. Don't use the spoon, and don't dribble little dots of mustard.
No?
No. You take your knife, and you smear. Men smear.
Smear.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robin Williams' legacy is that he made comedy not only human, he made it into a high wire act of deep intelligence.
Come on, Duncan. Say da-da. It's easy. Da-da. Anybody can say mama, Duncan. Come on, quit torturing me. Say da-da. Say it, say it. All right, Duncan. This is Technical Sergeant Garp. Now make it easy on yourself. Don't be a baby, Duncan. Say da-da. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da.
Hey, you! Wait! Wait!
He made film after film, which was a massive box office hit. In some parts, he really could subsume himself into the part as a straight actor and give a very powerful performance.
We need a wild card.
A wild card.
Yeah. Something that's there. Something we can use. You know, it's in every good detective novel. You still have the 38?
No.
Really? That's a shame. We could use that. That'd be very convincing for them. This is my stop.
The fact is that he's left us a legacy of extraordinary films, extraordinary performances. He was not only a great actor, but he was also the fastest mouth in the West.
I'll understand if you don't want to meet with him again.
Thursday, 4 o'clock. Make sure the kid's here.
Yeah. Thanks.
Robin Williams was born in Chicago in 1951. His father was an executive for the Ford Motor Company, and the family moved around the country during his childhood before eventually settling in Northern California, where Williams began his college education.
Initially, he studied political science. He wasn't going to go into acting. But then he transferred to the local community college where he started a degree in theatre before auditioning for Juilliard, the very famous New York acting school, in 1973.
He wins one of very few scholarships to do the applied course, which is kind of the high-level course at Juilliard. And that year, I think it's him and Christopher Reeve enter together into Juilliard and actually became best friends at that point in time. And indeed, I think William Hurt was also in the class with them. So this was a scholarship, so he'd had it all paid for, and would go across to work with John Houseman, who ran the course at Juilliard, an eminent actor, an acting teacher. And, you know, Houseman says, what arrived on our doorstep was a genius, but it was a difficult genius for them to shape and handle. They said his mind was just extraordinary. Houseman said to him, you're wrong here. You don't fit. This isn't good for you. We teach classical acting, you know, we teach the greats. You're something different. I'm not quite sure what you are yet. You're this kind of meteor, but you're going to be a star, but you've got to go somewhere else to find that.
He dropped out of Juilliard and returned to California, where he started to get work in the comedy clubs, both in San Francisco and in Los Angeles. He developed, by this stage, an extraordinary facility for improvisation and ad-libbing. It was clear that what he had was an incredibly fast brain, and he could free associate on stage very, very quickly. It didn't take him long to be noticed by television executives, and he started getting small guest slots on things like the Richard Pryor Show and Laugh-In.
Williams's first big break came when he won the guest role of an alien named Mork on the popular show Happy Days. His performance was so well received that it led to a spin-off show called Mork Mindy.
How are they treating you?
Do you talk to your plants too?
Oh, yes, they're good listeners, especially the old ones.
Yeah, I talk to my plants all the time. Keeps them young and keeps them healthy. Oh. Your suit's on backwards.
It is. Boy, do I feel like a clone.
You're not a priest. Who are you?
I am Mork from Ork. Nanu nanu.
Mork?
Yes, you see, Ork is a planet. You follow the Big Dipper till it comes to a dead end, then you hang an up.
An up.
Up, down, hard to tell out in hyperspace.
Oh, right. I have a poor sense of direction myself. So, you're from outer space?
Yes, do you mind if I take a few pictures for the folks on the home planet? They'd like to get some postcards.
No.
Okay, watch the fluky.
The audiences for Mork Mindy were huge, and they crossed every generation. The character became one of the very early TV, gift franchises. So there were lunchboxes and there were dolls, which was not something that TV had really explored before, this idea of all these spin-offs that the show created. It's hard to explain what it was like at the time, because essentially you've got a character who has these bizarre catchphrases like nanu nanu, and yet he becomes addictive watching. It was his launch vehicle, because after that he was in work in Hollywood in a big way.
In 1980, Williams earned his first major film role when he was cast as the lead in Robert Altman's Popeye.
Oh, Popeye! He's Popeye the Sailor Man. Oh, my hero! He's Popeye the Sailor Man. He's strong to the waist, but he eats his fish. He's Popeye the Sailor Man.
Oh, I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eat my spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
So while Mork Mindy is becoming this TV sensation, by night, Williams is out doing his comedy, and he's doing stand-up, and he's living this kind of very intense, very chaotic lifestyle where he's just going and going and going, can't stop performing. But it's clear that, you want to channel that into the movies. And a great idea had by Robert Altman, of all people, was to cast him as Popeye. And Robert Altman, brilliant director that he is, took it at face value. He said, people love Popeye, so I will do Popeye. It really is a fabulous reproduction of the great comic series, of the great cartoon, on screen. And it was a brilliant idea for him to take Mork, Robin Williams, and turn him into Popeye. Because Popeye is all vocal tics, He's unintelligible, really. He's just gesture. So you could just, in Altman's hands, just go, just do that through the voice of Popeye.
After Popeye, Williams worked with another award-winning director in George Roy Hill when he starred in The World According to Garp.
Oh, Ulysses. You gonna be a writer?
No chance. I'm gonna be a reader.
Maybe you'll marry a writer.
If I marry anybody, it'll be a writer. But I doubt I'll marry anybody.
You're certainly not going to marry a wrestler, are you?
Yeah. You can be very sure of that.
He went from playing a sort of cartoon character to playing a writer in John Irving's The World According to Garp, directed by George Roy Hill. This was about a man who's basically surrounded by completely difficult women. He has to spend his whole life sort of attempting to deal with these eccentric, wayward women in his life. It's very self-consciously eccentric, and he stands up very well in it. The reason that the film was a success, and it had no serious reason to be so, was the presence of Robin Williams. And I think by this stage, people would be going to films to see Robin Williams rather than the film itself.
The mid-1980s saw Robin Williams continue to star in further comedy dramas, including Moscow on the Hudson and The Best of Times. But his most successful role would be as an improvising radio DJ in director Barry Levinson's Good Morning Vietnam.
It's 0600. What's the O stand for? Oh, my God, it's early. Speaking of early, how about that Cro-Magnon, Marty Drywitz? Thank you, Marty, for silky smooth sound. Make me sound like Peggy Lee.
Good morning, Vietnam. What the heck is that supposed to mean?
I don't know, Lieutenant. I guess it means good morning, Vietnam.
And who gave anyone permission to program modern music?
Freddie and the Dreamers.
The wrong speed. We've got it on the wrong speed. For those of you who are recovering from a hangover, that's going to sound just right.
Let's pull it right back down again. Let's try a little faster, see if that picks it up a little bit. Let's get up on 17. Those pilots are going right now. I really like the music. I really like the music. I really like the music. Oh, still a bad song. Hey, wait a minute. Let's try something. Let's play this backwards and see if it gets any better.
Woof, this new vip, Freddy is a devil. Woof, this new vip, Freddy is a devil.
1987 is Good Morning Vietnam, Barry Levinson, about a disc jockey who actually brings cheer to these American soldiers stationed in the Nam. It is Robin Williams going for it. He's improvising through it, but it's immortal because of his kind of being behind that microphone and telling the truth, basically. And it's a very, very big film.
It was a massive success because there, not only could he act, but he could also use all his stand-up comedy routines, which he does. There's no doubt it's a major performance. I don't think anybody else could have done it. Or if they had, it wouldn't have been quite such a success.
Hey, we got a great show coming your way today. Former Vice President Richard Nixon's in town. That's right. The Big Dick is here. Get ready. I think there's an incredible coincidence here. I think he sounds exactly like Mr. Ed. You be the judge. I tell you this. Now listen. Wilbur, come in the room. An incredible coincidence. Some more songs. Moving on into the dawn. We're the Dawn Busters. Yes! What if you want me to
In 1989, Robin Williams starred in director Peter Weir's Dead Poets Society.
Well, come on.
One of the most serious films he ever made was Dead Poets Society, directed by the Australian director Peter Weir. And in Dead Poets, he plays the teacher of young adolescents who are troubled in their life. And he's an unorthodox teacher. And this is the Robin Williams who is partly a comedian, partly an actor. And this is a performance from him which is deadly serious because he himself felt he'd never had a good teacher. And he was determined to show what a good teacher should be.
Yes! Dare to strike out and find new ground. Now, in addition to your essays, I would like you to compose a poem of your own, an original work.
Williams would earn a nomination for Best Actor at the Academy Awards for Dead Poets Society. The following year, he would continue to feature in Oscar-nominated dramas when he worked opposite Robert De Niro in Awakenings.
Mr. Keene, I'd like to ask you...
I was born in 1911 in Kingsbridge, New York. I came here in July 1955. Prior to July 1955, I resided at the Brooklyn Psychiatric Center, Brooklyn, New York. Prior to that, I was a person.
This is one of his most extraordinary performances. He's a very, very shy physician who is brought into a clinic where all the people there are suffering from what is known as locked-in syndrome. There is no way of knowing whether the patients are conscious or they can feel anything. They are sort of catatonic. And through his observation and through a quiet sort of contemplation, he discovers, almost by accident, that they do respond to specific stimuli, but not general stimuli. What's even more interesting is that the title of Awakenings refers not only to the awakening of the patients, which sadly, of course, is only temporary, but also to himself and his own sort of locked-in syndrome through his shyness. And so at the end, he is also awakened into the possibility of a relationship.
In 1991, Williams worked with director Terry Gilliam on The Fisher King.
Oh, Violet! I feel the sting of my shaft! In the name of Blanche de Fleur, unhand that errant knight!
If you wanted to see a madman operating at full pelt, you want to watch Robin Williams in Terry Gilliam's The Fisher King, which is one of his most successful films. It's really the meeting between Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges plays a suicidal writer, and Robin Williams plays a vagrant, really, who tries to persuade him there's more in this world than ambition. It's an extraordinary performance from Robin Williams. It was certainly one of the most remarkable parts he ever played.
I'm dying. I can't breathe.
Isn't this a beautiful spot, Jack?
Who have we been chasing? Can I ask this question now?
He's gone now. Oh, we had him on the run, didn't we? Oh, if we had horses, we'd have had his ass. Oh, boy.
Who?
What?
Who have we been chasing?
Jack, I thought you saw him.
Saw who?
The Red Knight.
In the same year as The Fisher King, Robin Williams also played a grown-up Peter Pan in Steven Spielberg's Hook.
Hey, Jack. I know why I came back. I know why I grew up. I wanted to be a father.
I suppose Hook, in many ways, was inevitable, you know. It was Steven Spielberg, you know, the Peter Pan of directors, telling the story he would always want to tell, you know, the story of Peter later in life. And who else could possibly play, you know, this character than Robin Williams? Because he was Peter Pan. He still had those boyish looks. There was something eternally youthful about him.
Following Hook, Williams then performed as the genie of the lamp in Aladdin.
What would you wish of me? Be ever impressive.
Aladdin is a groundbreaking film for a number of reasons. Up until this point, Disney cartoons tended to be voiced by voice actors. There weren't big names. We now have all these superstar voiceovers for any movie, animated movie that comes out. But at that point, that was not the case. So when the producers decided, they wrote the part of the genie and they thought that Robin Williams would be perfect for it, and they approached him. He wasn't interested. That seemed like a step down. You know, those weren't the kind of acting roles that he wanted. So they got the animators to animate the genie delivering one of his stand-up routines. And Robin Williams loved this. And the film was nominated for a number of Academy Awards, but it couldn't be nominated for a Screenplay Award because so much of the film was Robin Williams improvising on the spur of the moment.
Excuse me? Are you looking at me? Did you rub my lamp? Did you wake me up? Did you bring me here? And all of a sudden you're walking out on me? I don't think so. Not right now. You're getting your wishes, so sit down! In case of emergency, the exits are here, here. Anywhere. Keep your hands and arms inside the carpet. Here.
In 1993, Robin Williams starred in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Shall we tell them where we're going tomorrow?
Yeah, they want to know.
Tomorrow, puppets, we're taking a wonderful trip. But you don't have to pack your bags because we're going in our mind.
That's
we're
right.
Going across the Atlantic Ocean to England, where I came from.
You came from England, huh?
I did, dear. It's a wonderful country. Do you know about England?
I just know that it's an island.
It's an island, dear, and a glorious one because they
And a
have
lot
a
of
queen
Oh.
and they have a royal family.
Oh, just like a poker game.
It's a full house.
A couple of the cards aren't living at home anymore.
Not anymore, dear, thanks to mobile phones.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Do you know what language they speak in England?
Pakistani.
Oh, that's right, Kovacs. In many stores they do. But we'll get into that tomorrow, boys and girls.
Mrs. Doubtfire, I suppose, is what you would call the kind of crescendo of that first part of Williams' career, where he was just kind of knocking them out of the park every time, certainly in terms of hit. But this was the kind of the high concept vehicle. It's the story of a divorced husband who figures out, the best way to spend time with his children is to kind of disguise himself as the new nanny, this extraordinary creature called Mrs. Doubtfire. He said, in some ways, it was his great tribute to Lolly, the kind of maid who helped bring him up. It's just a classic man in drag comedy. And it really was, you're going to see the film where Robin Williams wears a dress.
Yes, I want to keep you abreast of some of the changes in my career. There have been two big developments. I'm finally starting to come into my own. Things are really starting to take shape, and I'm blossoming. Really, I am. Things were hairy for a while, but I'm in great shape now. I'm my own man now. Oh, yes. Job I could really sink my teeth into. I'll be right there, Mrs. Sellner. So nice. I don't have to save face anymore, Mrs. Sellner. Mrs. Sellner, how are you? Always a joy. If you wanted some cheese, why don't you just say so?
Williams continued the trend of family-friendly pictures with 1995's Jumanji.
We're looking for someone who used to live here.
No, I've lived here my whole life.
Well, then you must have Sarah Whittle.
What do you want with Sarah Whittle?
Sarah?
No, I don't go by that name anymore.
Sarah Whittle?
What do you want?
26 years ago, you played a game with a little boy down the street. A game with drums.
How do you know that?
I was that little boy, Sarah.
Alan.
You killed her.
Jumanji, Robin Williams' next film, almost is not a step back. It's a harking back to the weirder films of his earlier career. It's a very trippy set of ideas and visuals, and he's allowed to be quite funny and spoofy. So it does, if you like, it's old school Robin Williams.
It's about a man who gets trapped in a game and has to get himself out. And now, Robin Williams wanted to really do this because he became a dad, and he wanted to do a picture for children, but he also wanted to enter the world of children. Massive success, huge success, and is the beginning of the whole Jumanji universe. So, great picture.
Following Jumanji, Williams then worked with director Mike Nichols on The Birdcage.
1996 comes The Birdcage, an Elaine May film, and it's the sort of remake of a great French film called La Cage aux Folles, and it's about a owner of a drag club. He's gay, and the owner's son, who he had a sort of brief liaison, and the son is going to come for a visit, bringing his fiancée, wants her to meet his dad. Well, they have to pretend not to be who they are, and of course the parents are, one of them is Gene Hackman. It's just an amazing picture. What's amazing about it is that Robin Williams never sends this guy up, and it's easy to do that. It's easy to make fun of this character. He doesn't do it. And it becomes a film about a man trying to be a father.
Good evening. I am Spartacus, the Goldman's butler. Please, come in.
Is that Goldman?
Coldman. Coldman. Spartacus is
Guatemalan.
New.
Val, this is my father, and this is my mother. This is Val Coleman.
How do you do?
Senator Coleman or Coldman? Coleman. The D is silent.
My father.
How do you do?
Oh, this is my daughter, Barbara.
Delighted.
My husband.
Extremely honored. You have a very forceful handshake, Mr. Coleman. Well, you have to in Greece.
In the same year as The Birdcage, Williams also appeared as Osric in Kenneth Branagh's adaptation of Hamlet.
The king, sir, hath laid, sir, that in a dozen passes between you and him, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He hath laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
How if I answer no?
I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial.
Sir, I will walk here in the hall, if it please his majesty. It is the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought, the gentleman willing, and the king hold his purpose. I will win for him, and I can. If not, I shall gain nothing but my shame and the odd hits.
Shall I redeliver you e'en so?
To this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature will.
I commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours.
When Kenneth Branagh decided to, make the definitive version of Hamlet on the screen, his one rule was he was going to do everything, all 4 hours something of Shakespeare's play. And what's more, he was going to populate this play with a succession of superstars. He has Charlton Heston in it. He has Julie Christie and Derek Jacobi. He has Kate Winslet, huge star of the moment. And you have not only Billy Crystal in a role, you have his great friend and comic partner, Robin Williams, as Osric. And these are small roles, But I think what Branagh is playing on is the idea of Shakespeare being for stars, and that, what a star might bring to these roles, bring to this iconography. So he was mixing the kind of the Shakespearean tradition with all these kind of modern, vibey actors like Robin Williams.
One! No! Judgment! A hit! A very palpable hit!
After Hamlet, Williams soon starred in Gus Van Sant's Good Will Hunting.
Hey, Jerry. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the presence of greatness. Professor Gerald Lambeau, Fields Medal winner for combinatorial mathematics.
Hello.
Anyone know what the Fields Medal is? It's a really big deal. It's like the Nobel Prize for math, except they only give it out once every 4 years. It's a great thing. It's an amazing honor. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks. We'll see you Monday. We'll be talking about Freud, why he did enough cocaine to kill a small horse. Thank you. How are you?
Good Will Hunting is 1997, and it's about a maths genius who is a janitor at a school, and it's discovered that he can solve a maths problem. He's a tearaway. It takes place in Boston. And Robin Williams plays the kind of therapist, doctor, who helps him face himself and be himself. It's again one of Robin Williams' really great helping pictures.
If anyone by this stage had any doubts about Williams's ability to actually act, then Good Will Hunting will have just wiped them away. I think his performance as a counselor to Matt Damon's rebellious genius in Good Will Hunting is probably the finest piece of acting he's ever committed to screen. And he was recognized by being awarded the Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
So, you know, I hope we keep in touch, you know.
Yeah, me too. I'll be traveling around a bit. It'll be a little hard, but I've got an answering machine at the college I'll be checking in with. So, you call that, I'll get back to you right away. Yeah, you know, I figured I'm just gonna put my money back on the table and see what kind of cards I get. You do what's in your heart, son, you'll be fine.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Will.
Hey, does this violate the patient-doctor relationship?
Only if you grab my ass.
Take care.
You too.
No!
In 1998, Robin Williams starred in Patch Adams.
Pork packers, rump wrappers, bull shippers. Lend me your steers. You know, we packers have been taking a bad rep for years. Yes. Because we all want to be the best damn packers there are. Because I'm proud of my meat, and I know you're proud of your meat. Whip it, zip it, and send it out. You know, some people say chicken. Some people say fish. I say now is the time for cow. Eat cow, 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 eat cow. Oh, yes, thanks. Oh, yeah. Hey. Whoa.
What is it? What's the difference between a first-year and a third-year medical student?
Patch Adams is a Robin Williams film of the old stripe, really. He is a wacky doctor, Patch Adams, who comes up against the medical establishment. It's slightly more complicated than that because this is based on a true story. There really was a Patch Adams who was a psychiatrist who thought that laughter was more important to patients than drugs. So Robin Williams plays him. He plays him older because Robin Williams was older than the original Patch Adams when he began this process. So he plays him as someone who's been suicidal and whose humour in a psychiatric hospital persuades him that humour is a medicine. And he goes to medical school on the back of that. And when he gets to medical school, he expresses himself. He's you know, all about the laughter, all about the fun. Things that crop up, you know, probably in Juilliard all the way through to Good Morning Vietnam all the way through. He's giving those sort of Robin Williams performances and riffs, and the medical school is trying to clamp down on him. And that's really the tension in the film. The performance of Patch Adams is quite a strong one. The film itself was very badly received by critics. In particular, the critics didn't like him portraying a doctor. They thought that he looked unsafe, and that one of something like this doesn't convince me. He looks like a danger to be a medical man. But the audience loved it. I mean, it was a box office hit.
The turn of the millennium saw Robin Williams take on an incredibly wide range of roles, from an android in Bicentennial Man to a concentration camp prisoner in Jacob the Liar. Then in 2002, he played an obsessed photo technician in 1 Hour Photo.
Oh, you have one shot left.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, it's a shame to waste it.
Oh, no, really, it's fine. Oh, no, please. Carl.
How's Jake doing?
Oh, he's great. He just had a birthday and...
Oh. How old is he, 9?
That's right. He just turned 9.
9.
Having been through a whole series of roles in which he played good guys, extremely good guys, doctors, funny men, he then moved into a new mode. 1 Hour Photo. He plays a photographic developer in a shop who is basically an obsessive. He is a man who is entirely alone, and he develops an obsession with a family over their photos. And basically he's a man who's looking to sort of have a family by default.
But who'd want to hurt me? I'm this century's Dennis the Menace.
It's probably the person you least suspect.
That's good, Dad.
It's an incredibly creepy role for him to play.
In the same year as 1 Hour Photo, Robin Williams also starred in Christopher Nolan's Insomnia opposite Al Pacino.
Oh, what a view. I'm not who you think I am.
No. Walter Finch, lousy writer, lonely freak, murderer. No.
When I was 7 years old, my grandmother took me to Portland. We were walking along. These two guys ran by. They snatched her purse. At night, a police officer came to our hotel to ask questions. He stood the whole time. Uniform looked brand new. Shoes, badge were polished. It was like a soldier, only better. I have great respect for your profession. That's why I write about it. I even wanted to become a cop after I finished high school. I just couldn't pass all the tests.
Well, you should have tried out for internal affairs. They'd have taken you. What do you want from me, Finch?
After Kay died, I knew that everyone would think that I meant to do it. So I cleaned the body up, removed all trace of evidence that connected to me.
Except for your novel.
Under pressure, you don't always see the wood for the trees. You, for one, should have figured that one out by now.
(2002) is Insomnia, a Christopher Nolan film with Al Pacino and Hilary Swank. It's a beautiful kind of study of two men looking for themselves, basically.
The film is about a murder that takes place in a town in Alaska where it's daylight the whole time in the summer and nighttime the whole time in the winter. And Al Pacino comes up to solve this crime whilst dealing with issues back home. Hilary Swank is the local cop helping him. And they eventually stumble across Robin Williams' character, Walter Finch, who is a local crime writer. And gradually, we realise that Finch is the killer. And Robin Williams plays him very cleverly. So he is dark, scary, smiling, open-faced madman. But he's got the wit to tape certain conversations that he has with Al Pacino. So he always feels to be a little bit a step ahead of the Al Pacino character.
After Insomnia, Robin Williams continued to work with award-winning directors. He reunited with Barry Levinson on 2006's Man of the Year and worked with George Miller on the animated film Happy Feet. Two of Williams's final screen performances saw him portraying US presidents, Teddy Roosevelt in the Night at the Museum film series and Dwight D. Eisenhower in The Butler.
Federal troops to Little Rock.
If it comes to it, yes. I can't see any situation where I'd send federal troops to the South. Ever. Could cause another civil war. Sir, if the federal government doesn't enforce Brown, then who will? The South must comply with the law. It's just going to take some time to adjust, that's all. I understand, Mr. President, but if Faubus continues to block the Negro children, then what do? We must enforce the Constitution.
Give Faubus more time. A little persuading, he'll back down. We just want to move slowly.
There was in late career for Robin Williams, this brief bit of playing American presidents. Because he'd played Teddy Roosevelt in Night at the Museum, and repeated the trick by playing Eisenhower in Lee Daniels' The Butler. And showing all that bright charisma that he has, he was kind of the right kind of guy to play a president because he would always bring him to life.
He was, and still is, a great presence on the screen, a revolution in many ways in comedy, television, and film, and probably one of the most generous people who ever acted, because even though he takes the light away, every time he's in front of the camera, he also shines it out too. He was and he still is, a great presence in the cinema.
He had an enormous fan base throughout the world. And we must remember that there was no one of his ilk who was quite as successful as he was. He made film after film, which was a massive box office hit. Not many comedians can say that, and not many actors can say that either. So, as an actor and a comedian, he was a quite extraordinary man.
Robin Williams' legacy is twofold. There's his personal legacy, which is the films that he made where he could engage people because he was Robin Williams and take them through steps that perhaps they might not have taken before. He's got a lot of ability to take the audience with him no matter what story he's telling. But also he is able to change the way certain kinds of films are made. His performance in Aladdin changed the way that animation was made. His ability to improvise changed the way directors would allow comedians to work.
Some of the performances in his films are the funniest ever committed to screen, to films that are actually really, really unbelievably sensitive and very, very moving.
He was enormously likable. He was charming. He was unbelievably charismatic and exciting to watch. Sometimes it could be too much, and he would go too much down a direction. But in the right hands and with the right material, he created extraordinary work, Robin Williams. Really exciting films.